Hello and welcome. Have you ever been in a project meeting where someone says this is a risk and another person says no, it's already an issue, and someone else mentioned we assume that that would happen, and finally a team member reminds everyone we are constrained by budget. If you are new to project management, these terms can sound confusing because they are often used together. However, each one has specific meaning, and understanding the difference is essential for managing projects successfully. These four concepts risk, issue, assumptions, and constraints are used almost in every project, whether you're following PMP, Agile, Scrum, or any other project management methodology. And in today's video, I will explain each term with simple definition, practical examples, and easy memory tricks that will help you and remember these terms forever. And by the end of this video, you will exactly know when something is a risk, an issue, an assumption, or a constraint. And you will feel much more confident participating in project discussions. So let's get started. Let's begin with two terms that are most commonly confused: risk and issue. A risk is something that might happen in future. It is uncertain, meaning it hasn't happened yet, but if it does, it could impact your project positively or negatively. And because risks are uncertain, project management identify them early and prepare response plan before they occur. Now, for example, imagine you're organizing a company event. The weather predicts there may be heavy rainfall tomorrow. Since the rain hasn't happened yet, it is considered a risk. Similarly, a vendor may deliver materials late, or team member may resign, or software upgrade might fail. These are all future possibilities that could affect your project. Now let's look at an issue. An issue is a problem that has already happened and currently impacting your project. And unlike risk, an issue requires immediate action because it is no longer uncertain. And using the same event example, if it actually rains on the day of event and the event has to be cancelled, the risk has now become an issue. Likewise, if a vendor actually misses the delivery date or system crashes today, those are issues. And here is easy way to remember. Risk means maybe and issue means it happened. And a simple tip to remember is that every issue may have started as a risk, but not every risk becomes an issue. And a good project manager focuses on identifying risks early so that they can prevent them from turning into real problems. Now let's understand assumptions and constraints. An assumption is something that you believe to be true without having confirmed. Since you don't have the complete information during planning, you make certain assumptions so the project can move forward. For example, suppose you're planning to roll out a new software across the organization. You assume that every employee has a laptop capable of running the software. You haven't verified it yet, but you are planning as if it is true. And another example is assuming that resources will be available when project begins, or that internet connectivity will be sufficient for remote users. And project manager document those assumptions because if they turn out to be incorrect, they can create risk or delay the project. Now let's look at constraints. Constraints are limitations within which project must operate. And unlike assumptions, constraints are fact that cannot be easily changed. For example, a project may have a fixed budget, a strict delivery deadline, a limited resources, or government regulations that must be followed. These restrictions influence every project decisions. And think of it this way: an assumption is something you believe, while constraint is a limit you must work within. And here's in the interesting connection between two. If you assume your resources will be available but later discover they are not, that incorrect assumption can quickly become a risk or even an issue. And that is why successful project managers regularly review and validate their assumptions throughout the project lifecycle. Now that we have discussed each term individually, let's compare all four together. A risk is something that may happen in future. An issue is something that has already happened. An assumption is something you believe to be true without confirmation. And constraint is a limitation that restrict how project can be executed. Now let's look at one practical example to see how all four can exist at the same time. Now you believe your supplier may deliver hardware late. That's a risk. Your supplier actually delivers hardware 3 days late. That's an issue. And you assumed all employee would already have compatible computer. That's an assumption. Meanwhile, the budget cannot exceed approved amount and launch date cannot be extended. Those are your constraints. And notice that all four are related but represent completely different situations within the same project. And here is the memory trick. Risk is maybe, and issue is happened, assumption is believe, and constraint is limit. And whenever you're unsure, ask yourself these four questions, and you almost always will classify the situations correctly. And let's quickly recap what we have learned today. A risk is a future uncertainty that may impact your project. An assumption issue is a problem that has already occurred and requires immediate attention. A constraint is a limitation such as budget, schedule, available resources that affect how project is managed. And whenever you are confused, ask yourself these four questions. Could it happen in future? That's a risk. Has it already happened? That's an issue. Am I simply believing it's true? That's an assumption. Or is it limiting my project? That's a constraint. And remembering these four questions will help you confidently identify project situations during planning meeting, stakeholder discussions, and PMP exam questions. And mastering these concepts is one of the most first step towards becoming a successful project manager because every project involves identifying risk, resolving issues, validating assumptions, and working it effectively within constraints. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope this video helped simplify one of the most important concepts in project management. Remember, project great project managers do not just solve problems after they have happened. They identify risk early, manage issues effectively, validate assumptions regularly, and successfully deliver projects while working within the constraints. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone preparing for PMP, project management interview, or simply looking to improve their project management knowledge. And if there is another project management topic you would like me to cover next, let me know in the comments below. Thank you once again for watching. I truly appreciate your support and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep managing your projects with confidence.